Okay, Shalom. I came across an article, part two of Negroes Are Not Africans. This article reads, when you come to America, you want to avoid anyone black. Author talks about new book, America Made Me a Black Man, and being black in America. Being black in America is a derogatory term created in 1681 in Jamestown, Virginia, during the Bacon's Rebellion. As a social construct, the terms were created, and today these terms still ruin and govern the lives of many. Me personally, I disagree with the term black. I'm not black. I'm not a color. I have a nationality. This individual in the picture is a Somalian from Africa who came to America, and this is his story, and this is my proof, part two, Negroes are not African. And I'm gonna back it up with the Compact Bible Dictionary definition, and I may pull a few scriptures, but this article is enough proof. In America, a painful reality exists that there is no manual for surviving the reality of what it means to be black. Like there's no manual that tells you how to drive while black. In Boya J. Farrah's new memoir, America Made Me a Black Man, he examines racism in America from a Somalian American perspective. In his book, he talks about the negative image America painted of black Americans during his early years to the point where he didn't want to be near black Americans. And I don't blame him. I don't want to be near black Americans neither, because they're dangerous. And if and it's a negative identifier. In a conversation with NPR, Farrah shares that he was born in Somalia in the Nugal Valley. After war broke out, Farrah, a young boy at the time, moved with his family to a refugee camp in Mombasa, a city in Kenya, before arriving in America, also known as Babylon the Great. Farrah's perception of Babylon the Great as heaven heightened his desire to experience life in the U.S. watching movies, and get your wrong impressions from movies, and television, lie vision, exposed him to the possibility of safety and freedom, which was a lie. Yet, after taking residence in America, or in Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, he soon learned that everything was not as it seemed. Let me read this definition of Ham before we continue. The definition of Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood. This is the Zanderfin Compact Bible Dictionary definition of Ham. Born probably 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood, he became the progenitor, the originator of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. His indecency when his father lay drunken brought a curse upon Canaan. Okay, Canaan are the Hamites. Back to the article. Farrah's new life exposed him to racism and intense prejudice. Moreover, the nomad's preconceived notions made him want to avoid black Americans because they were portrayed as thugs, lazy people, and drug dealers. That is the portrayal of the people known as, that go by the term black. I don't like black people either. I don't identify as black. I'm a so-called Negro. I'm an Israelite. Well, let's go to this article again. Drug dealers. Well, black Americans are projected in a way that's unfavorable. And therefore, when you come to America, you want to avoid anyone black, he confided. The Somalian American told NPR those were the images that were spread to us. Talking about the Hamites. So coming here to Babylon the Great, I remember taking a bus from Bedford, the city, to El Wef and seeing a couple of black people in the back, and I was like, I don't want to be near them. Even though I had nothing to fear, I had nothing anyway. He had nothing as far as being poor. He had nothing that could be, robbed, that could be taken off of him. So he didn't have anything as a poor kid from Africa. But at the same time, my head was filled with a lot of pictures that were lies from the television. Another shock came when the author failed to realize that he was not considered African. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, black people are not considered to be African. Okay. Matter of fact, let me get that in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Okay. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies, okay, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. The so-called enemies are the so-called whites in America, the Edomites, the Idumeans, and we were sold by the Hamites. So this article is accurate, okay? Another shock came when the author failed to realize that he was not considered African in the eyes of American society, but instead he was categorized as African American, which meant he was perceived as a black American, just like the people he was warned to stay away from. Farah references Miss Parker, a library worker from his high school. He was in high school. This was a library worker. She told him, "You're no longer an African. You better get used to it." Farah shares his firsthand experience of what it meant to be black in America in every part of his life, including the workplace. The memoir also uncovers how his perception of American blackness evolved from the lies he was taught throughout his early years to the reality of his adulthood in the Northeast. After decades in America, facing the brutal truths about the destructive forces that threaten black lives, Farah returned home to Somalia. Good for him, because the so-called Negroes, some of us are on child support, can't leave the Americas, really don't have a state or a nation to call their home. So it'll be like club hopping or bar hopping. There'll be country hopping. So this article was interesting, accurate, and has been highlighted. This guy Farah, the Somalians are not Negroes. We are not the same. We are not the same race, not the same bloodlines. Farah, big ups, he understood the difference between Hamites and Israelites, okay, and he understood that very well. He doesn't look happy in his photo. He looked like he found out something that he didn't want to find out, or he found out something that made him change his mind, okay? So this article has been highlighted. I'm going to title this, Negroes Are Not Africans Part 2. Shalom.